Mambo, welcome to Business News Africa. I'm Victor Homoeso, and we're going to be talking about all you need to know from a business perspective from the motherland. I'm hanging out in studio with Mali Shwane.
As you call me, Victor.
You have another name.
I do, Inonge Maluma, and I'm pleased to welcome you to Business News Africa. We'll be taking a look at the continent's business and economic headlines.
In Uganda, Uganda's central bank unexpectedly raised its benchmark lending rate on Tuesday, a move which analysts say could make local debt yields attractive and help the shilling to firm. Price pressures jumped to an 18-year high in October 2011 when headline inflation hit 30.5%. Since then, the central bank introduced the benchmark rate and applied aggressive monetary policy moves to tame prices.
On the sideline of the G20 summit, Russian President Vladimir Putin says the BRICS group of emerging economies will contribute $100 billion to a fighting fund to steady currency markets, destabilized by an expected pullback of U.S. monetary stimulus.
In our This Day in Africa slot, we cast our spotlight on Nigeria, the West African giant, which 55 years ago today saw the drilling at its first oil well. And since then, Inonge, it has become a diversified economy. It's got agriculture, it's got the financial sector. In fact, thinking about the financial sector, 5 years ago, you wouldn't dare put money in a Nigerian financial sector institution. Today, some of the best banks in Africa are Nigerian.
And I think, there's almost a rush for Nigeria as such, Victor, because not only is there a shifting perception about the country.
Growing at the rate it is growing, it is bound to overtake South Africa very soon. In the next 10 years, it would have done so.
Perhaps less, Victor. It could be less than 10 years.
Well, the central banker thinks in less than 10 years.
Yes.
But Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, as you know, is given to exaggeration sometimes. On East Africa Focus this week, we speak to Brian Dlamini, sovereign analyst at RMB. We're talking to him about the fire at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Kenya. Brian, quite a big story considering the importance of Jomo Kenyatta International Airport and Kenya as an economy in East Africa.
Yes, it was quite a story in that sense that, Kenya or Jomo Kenyatta is a regional airport, so everybody connects through there in the region.
What has that done in your own Brian Dlamini's rating of Kenya as an economy?
So as far as the broader scheme of things, it didn't really, it was, I won't say immaterial, but it didn't really move the risk rating either way. But what it did is that it made people at work, including myself, to postpone our trips to East Africa, and we kind of were left uncertain for a little bit of time.
Well, in our unlikely gem of the week, where we highlight a share, a company or a country which is likely to be overlooked, we're going to take a look at a country we may not have been thinking of recently. It's always a surprise every week. Victor, what is the surprise of the week?
Liberia. Certainly wow. Liberia for me. People will know it for their first African elected woman president.
Well, thanks so much, Victor, for giving us that unlikely gem of the week. As we say, it's always a surprise. You never know what we might highlight. Could be a share, a company, or a country likely to be overlooked not only by Africa, but perhaps by all the world. We look forward to our next unlikely gem. Thanks for joining us.